Well, everybody, welcome back to the third video of our Swedish adventure. And it might be a twofer because this day we did quite a lot. And this was an active day. And this was really when we were starting to get into the swing of things. Like I felt like we had a rhythm by this point.
Yeah, so I mean, we were out by 10 a.m. headed north.
This part I actually don't remember a lot. Like I remember heading north. I don't even remember heading north. I remember we went to this little place that was really cute. And I wanted to look around, but then we just got right back on the bikes and rode away. What was that? What was that place?
Yeah, so our first stop was Forsmark.
Yeah.
And it's a little small town of like 59 people. And the reason we stopped, Johnny just did a quick stop to state that Forsmark is the town. It's actually outside of the town of the Forsmark nuclear power plant, and it powers 14% of Sweden's power output. The other thing outside of like what we learned from Johnny, I did some research, and also the SKB, which I don't, it's a acronym for something in Swedish. I didn't know the words, so I was like, just call it. But they have a short-lived radioactive waste repository. It's 60 meters below the seabed, and it consists of 4 chambers, each 160 meters long. And there's a rock chamber with a 50-meter high concrete silo for intermediate level waste, and it's already 60% full. So, and they take radioactive waste from, you know, other nuclear sites too, not just from Sweden. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it just sounded like a video game to me.
Yeah.
So I can just see like mines of rock to hold jugs of, you know, nuclear waste.
And I'm sure it was carefully thought out, but in my mind, it's kind of like, I don't know, let's just dig a big hole and put it in there.
Well, apparently what I was reading is it like does like they did research where they're going to cap it off with more of the bedrock so that if any of it was to leak, it wouldn't make it to the surface for 100,000 years.
Yeah.
So there was some science, but I mean, it's one of those, like, it reminds me of like Futurama with the, that's someone else's problem.
Yeah. That's what I like to see. Yeah. By then we'll have a way to solve this, maybe, if we're still alive.
But yeah, you are right though. It was a very short stop, and Johnny was like, kickstands up, move on. And I think it was because we needed to be to the ferry at a certain time, so he wanted to hit everything.
Yeah.
Boom. How I like it.
Because on this day, too, this was the one I was really looking forward to, because we were going to go to this island. And I started looking up this island before we even left, and it was going to be, I knew it was going to be my favorite part, and it really was my favorite part. And I couldn't wait to get there, and Johnny just kept taking us to all these crazy places. Because we stopped at that little place, and then we rode a whole bunch of roads. One of them turned dirt for a minute for some reason. Remember that?
No, that's towards the second half of the day.
Was it?
That's like right before we got to
the
right. Ferry.
That's right. We took that little dirt road.
Yep.
Where did we go then after that?
So we went from Forsmark, moved on to a town called Öregrund, which actually, so we just Johnny found a place on the shoreline. It was a park. And really what we were there for is that you can actually see the Forsmark nuclear power plant across the water from that site. One thing I looked up about Öregrund is that it's Upland's best kept wooden cities, meaning like all of the houses, there's a big majority of houses that are just made strictly of wood.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fascinating.
Because you know how everything here just burnt down in the 1900s at least twice. Mm-hmm. So at least that didn't burn down.
Exactly. And we're talking wooden houses that are probably like from the early 1800s, if not older.
Yeah.
So. So we stayed there for like just a short time, and then we were off to Östhammar, which Östhammar is the locality and seat of the Östhammar Municipality. So when we were in Gimo and Uppsala, I kept seeing Östhammar on like the road signs, and it sounds like it's kind of like a county,
like
county area, yeah. So Gimo, Öregrund, Östhammar, Forsmark, they're all part of like this municipality of Östhammar.
Yeah, and it translates to oyster whacker, which I thought was pretty good.
Okay.
I just made that up. I have no idea.
So the first stop in Östhammar, we stopped at a rock that's in front of the municipality building.
Oh yeah, I like this.
That had like an iron rod in it that I think was supposed to be like a boat, like anchor point.
It was part of one.
Yeah, and it was just to demonstrate where the water level used to be in Sweden. Because one thing that's fascinating to me anyway is that Sweden, the land has actually been rising, and the water's been like going down in level.
Yeah, I think Johnny was saying that as the glaciers are receding, it's literally taking pressure off the land, because those glaciers were huge, and so now the land is actually like relaxing, and it's moving upwards, and it's really neat because everywhere where there's kind of like Viking ship stuff was all on land, because back when the Vikings were there, this was all underwater at one point. So yeah, it's kind of, I thought that was really cool. And Ernie was the one that showed us the route.
Yeah, and Ernie pointed it out for us all. And then after that, we went to the Östhammar Harbor. So everyone, the team went and had ice cream, but we kind of walked around and admired the old boats. And there was one that was sitting outside, tied up, and there was a sign on there that it was built in 1933, and then it was restored in the 90s, with like the iron rivets being replaced with copper, and some of the oak was refinished. But next to it also was a boathouse with a boat in there that smelled like that tar that they put on there. It smelled
like a pine
so
tar.
good. But it was actually a church boat built in 1863.
Yeah.
And it had been moved from another town called Faraday in 1940 to Östhammar to be protected.
Yeah, I mean, it was still, you could tell they just tarred it constantly and just was like, well, let's just protect the shit out of this thing. I don't know if it floats much anymore. It looks like it could if you wanted it to.
Yeah, it was.
But I think they
definitely
leave
sitting. It was sitting on
yeah.
like the things that you build it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like at least once a month someone goes in there and just tars it. I mean, it was just
yeah. It smelled really good.
It did. It did good.
Actually, this was the day too. Like when we first pulled in, remember that? I think it was here. That guy was jogging by with the long hair and like the really tight tracksuit, but he looked like Steven Seagal, and we're like, he listens to ABBA. Oh God, I really wish we had a video of him because the guy was just. Maybe I do. I'll have to find it, but yeah.
That's funny. I don't remember that. I do remember making fun of people a lot, but I don't remember.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it was
because he ran like an idiot.
Yeah, and then also just like that tight, bright. It was like a bright blue or something tracksuit that was like tight. I don't know. It made me laugh. So. I just want to walk around.
Yeah, I know.
And then I think from there, obviously we wanted to hit the road because we needed to get to wherever the ferry is. And I think it was a pretty good distance south from where we were at. And it did start to rain on us. So we did have to stop at one point prior. And it ended up being in front of the 15th century church in Harg to put on our rain gear. So that was kind of a cool pit stop.
Yeah, it was cool. And there's no information about it. Everybody was just kind of like, yeah, this is just normal. Like there's no signs talking about how old it was or whatever. I don't know. Like over here, if something was that old, we'd really be holding it up there. But it was just business as usual. So. that little one in Gimo?
Yeah.
It's been around since like 1200, something
Wow.
like that. Perhaps it started out as a Viking something or other. Yeah, that's when we hit the dirt road. We had to drive on that weird dirt road.
Yep.
And one thing I found up there that was kind of funny was they have all those, like, I don't know, there's kind of like a box on the side of the road that says sand, you know, and I'm assuming it's for when you get stuck. I mean, it's winter up there a lot. I'm assuming you need sand a lot, but it was all over the dirt road. Was all these sand boxes, and I don't know if they were there to sand the road or there to put, like, if it got too much sand, you could load it up in there for later. I don't know, but I thought that was really strange. Riding this dirt road just full of sand boxes.
Yeah, but I mean, when we got to the ferry, Johnny was like, when he rode that road a couple weeks ago, it was paved.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of being redone.
Yeah,
Is
no,
why.
it wasn't in great shape, but
no, it's definitely a logging road.
Yeah.
Yeah. But our next video will be the second half of the adventure on this day. So definitely like and subscribe so you can get the notification when that new one comes up, because it's going to be one hell of a ferry ride.
Yeah. And there's going to be a boat in it too.